Simone Bahou with the publication of my first book, Ascension, Book 1, Me versus You, which can be purchased at iuniverse.com. I pose the question, have you ever stated to yourself or another, I don't know why I said that, or I don't know why I did that? The answer today is still the same as it was back then, and the doorway to end your own personal suffering and the insanity of war. This video is a recap of videos 1 through 4 with 9 specific points of consideration and summation and 1 surprise. Point 1. Throughout man's history, we have needed to have a stronghold on something. These strongholds can be unbeknownst to us, meaning we never made a conscious choice to associate with them. Any stronghold is an egotistical difference or indifference with something of significance or insignificance that we are in a sense willing to die for. It does not matter what this stronghold is. It can be something simple like a professional sports team, go Raiders, or something much more indoctrinating like our individual race or nationality, religious or spiritual orientation, or our profession. In simplicity, a stronghold is anything that I believe is better than you, as in me versus you. While we are busy being better than another, at some point or stage we are ultimately confined to the energy of one day it will be over, meaning my life. This is where we sell out or succumb into that's just the way it is. The result of this reality becomes I must begin to prepare for senescence. In other words, we begin to say to retire and die. This can be a point of midlife crisis, but it does not have to. From this perspective of life, some choose to immerse themselves in church doctrine for salvation. If the church doesn't get you, something else will. Besides saving to retire and die, you may take on an addiction as a means of coping with this ending, like gambling, sex, food, drugs, or alcohol. Mine was alcohol, and boy did it have me, which I've written about in book 1. If you are cunning, you may become a drama addict. Addiction does indeed have many faces. Any of the ways to cope with this ending keep us remarkably busy. Point 2. The genesis of ego was to protect us from lions and tigers and bears. Oh my. Or for that matter, dinosaurs. Initially, this simple energetic idea originated from thought energy for our own preservation, protection, and survival from the elements. As we are busy preparing for the finality of death, we are equally busy evading our fear of death, dying, and disease, or 3D reality as we know it, which is the egotistical energy we have needed for humanity's survival. This energy enables our survival, and it is also the very thing that kills us. This ego energy is a dichotomy. Cumulatively, this dichotomy is also the sole reason for our continual suffering and wars. How, you ask? It is the pettiness of me against you pertaining to anything big or small. It is life as we know it today and the reason why we do not know ourselves. Point 3. My definition of ascension in this context means to aspire beyond the egotistical survival energy of significance or insignificance as it relates to difference or indifference, or more simply stated, me versus you. When you aspire beyond the energy of me versus you, you find the energy of me and you, which is of essence, which is purpose, and effervescence, which is love. It is from this perspective of life that the 10 Commandments are no longer lofty, like easing into a warm bath, putting on your favorite sweater or pair of shoes. They just feel good. The initial premise here is to ask for ascension by conscious choice, and from this day forward, do your best to live a life of a predominantly positive, intentional orientation or new way of being, one day at a time. The moment you make this choice by asking, it is done, meaning thy kingdom come, thy will be done. If you indulge in the lucrative and seductive energy of old days and ways, you experience suffering. This suffering is a barometer that can quickly redirect you back to your positive intentional orientation. This orientation is exclusive to you, your path and your purpose, and does not require approval from anyone, including you. Point 4. Every one of us came here to experience the fruits of this physicality, and there is no exclusion to this egotistically or otherwise. So Shaq got it right by, in a sense, denouncing his celebrity, because we are all equal. meaning no one is here to experience anything less than the fruit. The belief in resulting hierarchy, in contrast, only exists in 3D reality. This energy is pervasive, elusive, invasive, evasive, lucrative, seductive, and very confusing. Anytime you experience these energies, you are at the effect of this egotistical energy of survival, or me versus you. Its once good intentional orientation for our survival has become lost in the dichotomy, and purposefully so. The only way to unravel this cycle of life to death is to ascend. We have unintentionally been keeping this cycle in place for protection that we no longer need. There is a belief that we are all on a journey. Unfortunately, no one is clear what their journey is. While we live in the unclear, we are busy being politically correct about it. It is like a child in the classroom who knows the correct answer to the teacher's question, but does not raise their hand for fear of being wrong or ridiculed. We just don't go there. It is this way because there is no egotistical energetic boost or opportunity for boasting with a wrong answer. Because we do not even go there, we are merely reduced to coffee at Starbucks, coyly boasting about what we just bought or are going to buy, and trying our absolute best to be politically correct about our boast. For me personally, the frustrating part about all genre of religion, spirituality, self-help, New Age, and metaphysics is the elusive nature of understanding. Because of the elusiveness or mystery, we evade the truth while being seduced into believing otherwise. Because of this, we cycle and circle around the obvious with no ability to do otherwise. Point 5. The thing on this journey that finally struck me was that even though I was compiling an impressive library of books, countless workshops and seminars to be the best doctor and person I could be, in the end, I was still unclear. For the most part, my grand efforts were merely keeping me occupied while I was busy saving to retire and die, as well as vigorously evading death, dying, and disease. Interestingly enough, so was everybody else around me. My circle of people would literally sit around and discuss this cycle and circle to no avail, not even knowing we were doing such. Our connection beyond being politically correct was and is this circle and cycle. Because of this, it became obvious to me that under our current ideology, nothing was ever going to change. Ultimately, we were never going to aid suffering, including our own. One day, I concluded with devout resignation that after all the time and money spent, I was better off praying. I was like, at least praying doesn't cost money. It's sort of like realizing you should have had a V8. Here's a clue. When the banter of everyday life dissipates, your engagement in me versus you dissipate, and your path unfolds with clarity as opposed to confusion. Point 6. In the world we live in today, all aspects of politically correctness, cancellation, woke, and CRT are creating separation and division, which is not what God, the universe, all or everything intended. So what did God, the universe, all or everything intend? In simplicity, and the bottom line here, creation of heaven on earth to the best of our ability. I do realize how lofty this may sound, but how well have we done so far? I mean, really, give it a grade. Are we doing A work, B work, C work, D work, or have we failed? Like a splinter in your mind, something about the world we live in today isn't quite right. Being lost in the game of me versus you is like being stuck in quicksand. The layers of every me versus you experience from day one are burdens you carry, and then there you are hunched over your shopping cart, slowly shuffling through the aisles of Walmart, barely able to see, hear, talk, or walk. Is that what you want? It doesn't have to be this way. You can release the burdens. How, you ask? Well, I explain this in great detail in Ascension Book 1, Me versus You, so get your own copy at iuniverse.com. Point 7. In any given period of time, there are always a multitude of things to consider in the game of me versus you, egotistically and physically. The list of to-dos is endless, and man, I'm telling you, it's exhausting. It is not that the energetic game of me versus you are a bad thing, but knowing this is essential for ceasing this game. When you can step back and see it for what it really is, necessary for protection, preservation, and survival of humanity, then you can cease being used by it and also not make others wrong or bad for being engaged in the game unknown to themselves as well. When you do not know, you do not know. Point 8, also something to consider while playing this game, is letting go of the emotional high of your own bodily chemicals released from an egotistical or physical win. It feels good to win at anything. Losing does not feel good, and the consolation of learning from your loss is never fun. Winning is how you receive your egotistical high. Like a drug, we are addicted to our own chemical biology. Point 9, which is the last point. Seeing beyond me versus you to me and you ceases what I call the good fight. When you cease the fight, relation begins, and that is me and you. Me and you are together. This relation creates the energetic space for what we are going to do next. When people come together, relate and engage, agreements about anything can change. Remember when red meat was bad? When anything can change, everything or all does as well. The energy of all or everything is increased or enhanced by adding unto energetically when you operate from me and you in fulfillment of your own unique purpose on your own unique path from love. Essentially, when you give your gift, this adds unto all or everything, so we all experience more peace, love, and joy. And repeat. This is not for takers. This is how personal suffering and war winds down and ends. Can you see how the evolution to a greater awareness adds unto all or everything? Can you see how this can end the circle and cycle of personal suffering and war? Can you see how this can create heaven on earth? If you cannot, you are stuck in the circle and cycle of me versus you. If you are confused, you are in quicksand. Confusion is a clue. Confusion evades me and you. Are you confused? In conclusion, thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe and share because we have much work to do. And with consistency and diligence, we can do this together. If you have any questions about the 9 points in this recap video, please leave a comment and I will get back to you promptly. Have a spectacular weekend and I will see you next week.